Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Twilight. And this movie came out in 2008, and it's pretty well known. I'm sure you all know what it is. And I've seen this movie before, like once when my sister was really into it, and I watched these movies, and not all of them. I haven't seen Breaking Dawn for the most part. I've seen most parts of part one, but not part two, really. I've seen bits of part two, I think. And for the first movie in particular, there were a couple things that stood out to me as memorable, I guess. It's like I could remember them, mostly because of pop culture, just parodying and referencing this movie. And I just decided to revisit it just to see how it would hold up. And I thought this movie was pretty bad. And pretty much it failed in every way that it was trying to go for, really. And for the first 45 minutes, it was absolutely hilarious. Not because the comedy was actually funny, but rather it was so bad that it was funny to me. And I was laughing at the movie, not with it, at it. And there's so many lines of dialogue that I just found to be absolutely hilarious. And I just laughed out loud, and I was just thinking to myself, who talks like this? And that I got so much enjoyment out of that, and it was so cheesy and so funny. And when Bella first meets Edward, and the fan blows on her, and he can smell her, he's like, oh. And that entire scene, he's just making these funny faces, and I was losing it in that scene. It was so funny to me. And Robert Pattinson, he's pretty funny in the movie, not intentionally but unintentionally, and he might be one of the best parts of the movie to me, just because whenever he's on screen, he's just really entertaining. And the scenes where he's carrying Bella on his back, and just running around and climbing trees, it looks so bad. And it looks like the wire work in this movie, it's like X-Men Origins Wolverine level, where if you tilt the camera up a little bit, then you can see a crane, and he's just being moved all along by a wire, and it just looks so bad. And the movement for the characters is just not matching how fast he would be going, and it just looks really bad. And I'm guessing if they used CGI for this movie, to show off those effects, then it would probably look a lot worse, because the special effects in this movie aren't that great. It's pretty dated, and it doesn't really hold up, unfortunately. And the characters in this movie are super, super weak, and they have almost nothing for them. And Bella, our main character, played by Kristen Stewart, is a really boring main character, and there's nothing to her. And the only thing that you learn really about her is that she's in high school, and she sees Edward, and she wants to, I guess, talk to him about some things, and they spend time with each other, and that's it. And there's two things that happen in this movie, plot-wise. One, Bella and Edward are seeing each other, and they learn things about each other, or at least Bella learns that Edward is a vampire. And the other thing that happens is there's some antagonist bad vampires who try to get to Bella, and that happens towards the end of the movie, and that's it. And those are the only two things that happen in the movie, and it's so boring. And like I said, for the first 45 minutes, I was so with it. I was having so much fun, locked in, just having a blast. And after a certain point, it kind of just understands what it wants to do, and it just takes itself so seriously, and the dialogue, it just becomes so much more bland, and it's just really boring to watch. And sometimes it's funny at points, but the funny bad moments are just so spread out at that point that I was struggling to pay attention, and I was kind of falling asleep. And the third act of this movie was pretty funny. And that's when it got a lot more entertaining after a while. But unfortunately, when it comes to the entertainment that I take away from it, unintentional humor, that's it. There's like, I'll be generous and say an hour's worth of funny bad moments, but there's another hour of this movie that is just really painful and boring to me, and I just can't stand it. And this movie does not need to be 2 hours long. It could have been an hour and a half, and it would be much better in my opinion. And I haven't even gotten to the performances in this movie, and pretty much everyone has said that Kristen Stewart just blinks a lot, and she's like, her acting is terrible, and she's like, talks as if she's out of breath in every scene, and they're right, and she's terrible in this movie, and she's like just not into it at all, and I just have nothing to add to that conversation. And literally everyone is bad in this movie, and it's like either they have no idea what type of movie they're in, or the dialogue is just so terrible that they don't know how to work around that, or they know what they're getting into and they just don't care and just are waiting for a paycheck. And for some of them, that kind of makes it funny, like Robert Pattinson. He clearly has an understanding of what kind of movie he's in, I feel, and he just makes some really funny bad moments, and it's always entertaining to me. And a lot of people are probably going to get mad at me for saying that this movie's terrible, and the goals of the movie is just to have a fantasy romance thing where it's a bit different and has something else going on for it. And if that's the kind of movie you like, then this is a movie for you. But for me personally, I was entertained for half of it. The other half, I can barely remember. And I just personally don't feel as though this movie succeeded in any way that it was trying to. Like the chemistry between our two main characters, I never bought it. I never understood what they like about each other and why they were, I guess, trying to date one another. Other than they just are different, I guess, and I don't. I literally don't understand it. It's just so weird to me. And I get that the movie doesn't care that it's weird, but at the same time, that doesn't make it okay to me. And another thing that confuses me about it being a romance movie, like people going into this movie want to see a romance, and I could understand that, but the romance doesn't start until like an hour through the movie, and for most of it, like nothing happens. It's just you see Robert Pattinson just stalking our main character every once in a while, and eventually they just start seeing each other a lot more often, and they just go from there. And that's the whole movie, and I'm just very confused as to what I was supposed to get out of it, and I just don't think this movie is very good, unfortunately, and I cannot recommend that you check it out if you're looking for an actual good movie. If you're looking for a funny bad movie, it's not too bad. Like, half of it is pretty funny. It's just that you're going to have to put up with an hour's worth of boring scenes that are not good. And I haven't seen the 50 Shades trilogy in a while, but I remember being more entertained by those movies than this. And I looked at the runtime, and they're about the same, but I would much rather watch the 50 Shades movies just because I found them a lot more unintentionally funny. Whereas this, I could rewatch half of it, but the other half I would just skip through and never watch again. And that's how I feel about Twilight, so funny bad movie, it's okay. Anything else, skip, pass, don't watch. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Twilight a 2 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Twilight, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Monster, directed by Patty Jenkins, so look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.